the broader markets were green today. Tech rallied. The Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P 500 all closed in the positive. But Mullen Automotive? Down again. Another red day. Another deep cut into what little faith remains. This isn't just correlation breaking, this is a stock operating in isolation, a stock trapped in its own downward spiral. While the rest of the market finds new footing, MULN keeps losing ground. And it raises a critical question: what would it actually take for Mullen Automotive to turn things around? Let's be clear, we're deep in long-shot territory. But it's a question worth exploring, especially for those who still hold shares, even if only out of inertia or hope. The current landscape. MULN's situation is extreme. We're talking about a company that has undergone 5 reverse stock splits in under 3 years. The latest, a staggering 1-for-100 split, effectively destroyed the portfolio positions of retail investors who were once bullish on the company's EV vision. Just think about that: if you held 10,000 shares pre-split, you now hold 100. If you held 100,000, you're now down to 1,000, and that's before accounting for price action, which has cratered post-split by nearly 40%. The optics are brutal. The fundamentals are worse. Mullen continues to report limited revenue, ballooning losses, and heavy reliance on issuing new equity. The SEC filing for 200 million new shares, even after the reverse split, tells us everything we need to know: the dilution train is still barreling down the track. This is a company in survival mode, not growth mode. And for retail investors, it's created a sense of total detachment. Once loyal followers have either walked away or simply muted their expectations. So if we ask, can it be turned around? We need to talk in extreme hypotheticals. We need to dream bigger than most companies would ever dare. Scenario 1, a truly transformational contract. For MULN to regain any form of credibility, it would need to land a commercial or governmental contract so large, so undeniable, that it resets the narrative overnight. We're not talking about a local fleet order for 50 cargo vans. We're talking about something on the scale of a federal government contract with long-term procurement terms, a multi-year logistics partnership with a titan like Amazon, UPS, or even FedEx, a state or regional public transit order for last-mile or inner-city EVs. And here's the key: it can't just be announced. MULN has had headline-grabbing deals before, and most have gone nowhere or lacked follow-through. To change the story, they would need a signed agreement with full transparency, verified deliveries in progress, cash flow evidence tied directly to the deal. Investors don't want more press releases. They want proof of execution. Scenario 2, breakthrough technology that commands attention. Another way out? A legitimate technological leap. MULN has flirted with solid-state battery announcements in the past. But for that to become a turnaround catalyst, it would have to go far beyond industry fluff. We'd need to see independent lab validation of performance metrics, a functional, safe battery system that outperforms lithium-ion in terms of energy density, charging speed, safety, and cost, real-world integration into existing or upcoming Mullen vehicles. This is the kind of breakthrough that could attract government research grants, strategic partnerships, and maybe even investor reconsideration. But again, this needs more than a white paper. It needs demonstration, reliability, and scale. Scenario 3, a white knight buyer or partner. It's possible, though increasingly unlikely, that a major auto manufacturer or related player in the mobility space might view Mullen as an acquisition target or JV partner. Why would they do that? To acquire IP or design teams, to gain access to facilities or specific EV configurations, to repurpose Mullen's infrastructure for a new strategy. Companies like Magna, Hyundai, or even Apple's mobility team could fit the bill. But such a scenario would likely be a fire sale, with retail holders receiving pennies on the dollar. Still, it would inject cash, temporarily stabilize sentiment, and perhaps salvage jobs and assets. But let's not pretend this would be a win for current shareholders. It would be damage control, at best. Scenario 4, a miracle market shift. Sometimes, crazy things happen in the market. A short squeeze, a liquidity surge, a viral catalyst. Could Mullen ride another wave of speculative momentum? Maybe. But without fundamentals, it would be short-lived. Retail sentiment isn't what it was in 2021. Meme stock energy has faded. And while anything's possible in financial markets, building your investment case on miracles isn't a strategy, it's gambling. So, what's the realistic path? If Mullen wants to survive, not necessarily thrive, here's what they need to do. Cease unnecessary dilution immediately. Deliver real vehicles with documented follow-through. Cut costs and improve transparency in their financials. Regain trust by underpromising and over-delivering. Stop leaning on buzzwords and start reporting numbers. That might not send the stock soaring, but it could stabilize it, give it a floor. From there, long-term credibility could slowly be rebuilt. But let's be honest. For MULN to return to its former market cap, it would need to outperform the S&P 500, Tesla, Apple, and Nvidia combined. It would need to become one of the most valuable companies on Earth. And that's not going to happen. Final thoughts. Today's drop, despite market-wide optimism, is a symbol. A reflection of where Mullen now stands, isolated, distrusted, and rapidly fading from relevance. It's a tough story to watch. Especially for those who believed, who were early, hopeful, and maybe even right for a moment. But in markets, narrative only gets you so far. And Mullen has burned through almost every ounce of goodwill it once held. Can it turn around? Technically, yes. But only through a near-miraculous, industry-defining transformation. Otherwise, this is less a turnaround story, and more a warning tale. Thanks for watching. Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you're still holding, what's your plan? And if you're out, when did you make the call? Subscribe for grounded, honest updates. I'll see you in the next one.